Please don't mention her in the same sentence as me. She is Andre Drummond, and I'm the Steph Curry of this league. Yes, I played like trash, but I'm not going to be out here blocking trolls and trademarking me bounds like a loser. At least I can admit when I play bad.
The expansion Golden State Valkyries visiting the Indiana Fever. This wasn't just another regular season game, it was a collision of franchise arcs, individual pairings, and underlying league momentum. The Valkyries, in only their first year as the league's 13th team, were already rewriting the script of expansion expectations. By mid-season, they were 10-9, on pace for success in a league where prior expansion teams often struggled in single digits during their inaugural campaigns. Calgary Thornton's all-star selection and the Valkyries' elite defensive numbers, second-best defensive rating, top in rebounding, hinted that this club was no flash in the pan. They were the real deal, led by coach Natalie Nakase, a first-time head coach with a championship pedigree and a blueprint centered around grit and paint protection. Their host, the Fever, meanwhile, were anchored by the electric presence of Caitlin Clark. The league's rising phenomenon, nicknamed the Caitlin Effect, had turned Fever games into must-watch spectacles thanks to her uncanny court vision and ability to ignite runs with infectious energy. Excited. Despite being a relatively young team themselves, the Fever carried a contrasting but a touchstone, a validation that this wave of growth could outlast the Caitlin Clark hype and persist well into the future. Second, it was a test of identity versus identity. The Valkyries came in clutching their defensive rating, averaging 97.3 points allowed and dominating boards with 37.4 rebounds per game. They were built to disrupt, denials in the lane, relentless rebounding, and high-energy rotations. Indiana's game, by contrast, flowed on momentum, built for big plays and designed to capitalize on every second chance or fast break opportunity. Thoughtful. It was a tactical chess match, paint versus perimeter, defense versus rhythm, expansion swagger versus veteran cohesion. Third, there was the human element. For the Valkyries, all eyes were on Kayla Thornton, an under-the-radar talent who ascended into the All-Star lineup in her 10th season, becoming the first rookie team All-Star since 2006. That honor reflected not just individual achievement, but synergy. A cast of championship-tested veterans like Temi Fagbenlay and Ileana Rupert merged into a cohesive unit that understood winning culture. For Indiana, it was another opportunity to rally behind Caitlin Clark, whose voice and playmaking sensibility have spun the Fever's identity into a potential Eastern Conference power. Finally, there was the league-wide momentum. The WNBA was in full bullish mode, franchise valuations soaring, new team fees climbing five-fold, an 18-team expansion anticipated by 2030, and a landmark $2.2 billion media rights deal kicking in. On-court battles were now narrative drivers behind a sports movement, from boardrooms to broadcast booths. Indiana versus Golden State wasn't just a game, it was a physical manifestation of the sweeping cultural and commercial ascent of a league finally aligning performance, growth, and brand legitimacy. So when the game tipped on June 19th, under bright lights and caffeine-laced anticipation, we weren't just watching 10 players on the floor. We were witnessing a stamp of approval, a confident expansion team's ambitions colliding with an established. Both teams leaned into their identities. Coach Natalie Nakase of the Valkyries had a clear game plan: smother superstar Caitlin Clark and force Indiana into a different offensive look. With defenders Tiffany Hayes, Veronica Burton, and Kate Martin rotating on Clark, the message was direct: deny her rhythm and don't let her fall in love from deep. On the Indiana side, interim coach Austin Kelly continued to pivot around in the third, already her 29th in franchise history, underscored how the Fever planned to exploit the mismatch in the post. The contrast of styles was clear. Indiana pushed the pace off rebounds, feeding off Clark's playmaking. Her 9 assists by halftime proved her ability to generate offense even when her own shot wasn't falling. But Golden State remained disciplined. They gave Clark no breathing space, kept her off the three-point line, and crowded passing lanes to force 16 turnovers.
Meanwhile, the Valkyries role players got rolling. Kayla Thornton stretched the floor, hitting 5 threes in just 20 minutes, including 2 clutch shots late. Kate Martin came off the bench showing versatility, isolating over Clark for fadeaways and hitting perimeter shots while grabbing 5 rebounds. And Chloe Bibby, in her WNBA debut, immediately made an impact. At halftime, Indiana led by 6. Boston dominated the paint, while Golden State's bench chipped away with balanced scoring. Every Valkyries reserve scored at least 9 points, a depth advantage that would pay dividends. Defensively, Nakase's squad disrupted Indiana's flow. The Fever went ice cold, missing 13 straight shots over more than 6 minutes, allowing the Valkyries to close the gap. Though Boston finished with 17 and 12, the Valkyries limited her to just 2 second-half points. Heading into the fourth quarter, Indiana clung to a 59-55 lead. But then, the Valkyries flipped the script. They outscored Indiana 33-18 in the final frame, sealing an 88-77 comeback victory. The turning point came early in the fourth. Golden State launched a 19-4 run over 7 minutes, turning a deficit into a 64-63 advantage. Kayla Thornton was crucial, drilling 2 deep threes in the final minutes. One of them came off a slick pass from Veronica Burton, showcasing the team's ball movement and unselfish play. Tiffany Hayes scored a season-high 14 points off the bench. It's on 3 of 14 shooting, including 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. The physical defense in crunch time disrupted Indiana's rhythm and sealed the win. Key plays kept piling up. A Monique Billings offensive rebound and putback put Golden State ahead. Veronica Burton added a smooth floater at the top of the key to push the lead to 6-6-6-3. By the closing moments, the Valkyries had all the momentum. Thornton's clutch shooting, Bibby's spark, Hayes' leadership, and Billings' hustle sealed their first-ever road win against Indiana and a series sweep. The fourth quarter became the heart of the story. Golden State's bench depth, discipline, and defensive will overwhelmed Indiana down the stretch. Kayla Thornton ended with 16 points in 20 minutes, drilling 5 threes and grabbing 6. The Valkyries bench made the difference. Tiffany Hayes tallied 14 points, 6 free throws, and 5 assists. Chloe Bibby scored 12 on 4 of 9 shooting, hit 2 threes, and posted a +25 in her debut. Veronica Burton added 11 points and 5 rebounds, hitting all her free throws. On Indiana's side, Boston started strong but faded late. Kelsey Mitchell added 16 points, but the Fever couldn't match the Valkyries' firepower or depth. Defensively, the Valkyries executed to perfection. Caitlin Clark, averaging over 21 points per game, was held to 11 on cold shooting with 6 turnovers. The Valkyries' aggressive double teams and physicality wore her down. From an analytics perspective, Golden State's bench efficiency, rebounding dominance, and turnover advantage defined the outcome. Their 37 rebounds per game and elite defensive rating continue to drive their rise. This wasn't just a win, it was a milestone. The Valkyries in their first year are not just participating, they're contending. Their balance of veterans and young talent, sharp strategy, and team-first culture have set a new standard for WNBA expansion success. For Indiana, it's a moment to regroup. The talent is there, compete. And where stars are built, stories are told, and the future is unfolding faster than anyone expected. Thanks so much for watching this deep dive into the Golden State Valkyries breakthrough season and their exciting win over the Indiana Fever. The WNBA is evolving faster than ever, and the Valkyries are leading the charge as a new standard for expansion teams.
If you enjoyed this analysis and want to stay up to date with all things women's basketball, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us out. Don't forget to share this video with your hoop-loving friends so they can join the conversation too. And most importantly, subscribe to Her Hoops for daily new videos packed with highlights, breakdowns, and insider takes from the world of women's basketball. Your support keeps this community growing, and we've got plenty more content on the way. So stay tuned, and until next time, keep hooping!